and good evening. Welcome to all our book club partners. Welcome back to the series finale of Book Club Conversations, Series 7. Guys, we're at the end, commanding your morning. We're at the end. Now, for those of you who may be joining in for the first time, hey, that's okay. You can go and watch all the episodes that went before. But just so that you would know that in the series, we have been taking a deep dive as we discover the power of words while reflecting on the writings of Cindy Trim in her book, Commanding Your Morning. Now, for reminders, every time we go live, because listen, even though this is a season finale of Series 7, guess what? Series 8 starting next week. So you can still like the page, follow the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're across on YouTube, because we're going to be getting into Series 8 come next week. I am Alina Lewis, author and success coach, and in this series, entrepreneurs and professionals, we've been coming together twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, joining live in studio. And of course, we're always excited to have you, the book club partners, joining the conversation in the comment section below. So guess what? I guarantee you it is a deep dive, it's authentic conversation, and it is transformative. It's beyond motivational, it's transformative. So I really want to encourage you, take a moment, share the video, take a clickety click right now, share the video, like the video. As somebody you know may very well benefit from everything we're about to talk. We're about to talk, guys. So make sure you like and share the video. Book Club Conversation Series 7 is made possible through the support of Launchpad Consultancy. So we're going to take a moment and have a word from them now. Yeah? Great. And we're here, Roll Rollocks, Ranma Berkeley, Janine Caesar,
Good muted,
and the good
Alina.
morning. What is that, Roll? Oh, Roll's screen seemed to be frozen. Did you all hear what he said, ladies?
No, I didn't catch it.
Oh, Roll, are you hearing us?
It looks like
Oh,
he's muted.
wow. His screen seemed to be frozen. But that's okay. I'm sure that he'll refresh his screen or so, and he'll be able to rejoin us and continuing with the chat. Guys, commanding your morning. Not only is it the name of the book, but it's the name of the chapter. Commanding your morning.
Yeah.
Deep breath, awakening. You take that moment, you breathe in, and you said, "Oh my goodness, what was the awakening for you?" Janine, I see you making faces in the corner there. Let me volunteer you to get started. What was your awakening, Janine?
Listen to me. My voice is even going. This chapter, I believe, is my favorite chapter of the book. It was so powerful. It was really powerful. I couldn't get over it. As a matter of fact, I couldn't finish the book after a while. I just had to close and say, this can't be taken in 1 or 2 days. I had to do this. I have to continue in 3 days because of the declarations that were being made. I couldn't. It was so much. It was so good. I really loved it. I really did love it.
Yes. So that means everything was an awakening for you, Janine girl.
Well, listen to me. If I tell you that I cannot command my morning now and get up with even more intention, I would be telling untruths.
Mm,
I really
Yeah.
do
yeah.
have to take charge of my morning now, especially with those things that she said.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Renma, what about you? What was your point or moment of awakening as you read the final chapter of the book?
For me, it was when she said, "Your miracle already exists in the unseen or secret realm. All secret things belong to God, but those things that are revealed belongs to man." And I was just like,
Hmm.
I don't have to pray for it. It's already there. It already exists. I don't have to wait for it to be created, to be built. All it needs to do is be manifested. I was like, wow. And then, when she said all the things that are revealed belongs to man, I was like, so that means all of those thoughts, those imagination, those dreams, those visions, all of those are mine. They are already there, and I just need to pull it from that secret hidden realm and make it manifest into my life. And I was just like, wow, wow.
Loving it. Roll, are you able to hear us this time around?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Oh, excellent. Good evening, everyone. It's always so good to be with the Empresses, right? I heard Renma earlier talk about it was the same thing that caught my attention, the whole idea of the secret things belonging to God. Um, and, man having that job to reveal those things. And what jumped out at me was the whole idea of discovery and the unfolding. There's another scripture that talks about a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, which seems to suggest you're not going to see very, very far into the future. But as you make the steps, there's an unfolding, there's illumination as you make the steps. So this whole idea of discovery is what jumped out at me. That, there's this process where, God is not just going to give you this blueprint and you're going to see everything before you. All right. And I heard another speaker say once that if God sometimes showed you the entire picture, you probably would not go on your journey. All right. So there's so much value in that discovery, in that unfolding. And in that unfolding, we unfold ourselves, what we know about ourselves, our sense of confidence, everything is part of that unfolding process. So that caught my attention and, caused that kind of stirring up and awakening in me. So I like that comment in particular.
Yeah, I love that. You know, what stood out to me, and it's connected to something that has been a constant reminder, even as I've gone through the book, and it's where Cindy Trim says, you must give things permission to exist in your life. And I remember in one of the previous episodes, I was talking about the importance of talking and speaking out. And even as I read that, again, I was reminded of the importance of speaking out and talking, because it really is a mind blowing thing to consider. We must give things permission to exist in our lives. Because sometimes, and I mean, I'm not just saying this for me, just observing life and humanity, so often it's as though we're waiting on things to passively, automatically happen, as though we should sit and life should happen to us. All goodness should come to us. All goals should be self fulfilled. And not really, it doesn't work like that. And so, even as she's speaking and saying, we must give it permission, as in use our voice, our words, to give things permission to exist, it was such an encouragement to consider all the things we could possibly try to imagine in our lives that we want to achieve, we want to embrace, we want to experience. And to know that we can give those things permission by speaking it, I found that such an exciting reminder that I gravitated. That was my deep breath moment, right? I'm telling you, that was my deep breath moment right
It's so
there.
it's so true, Alina. There are so many books written about slavery experiences and the Holocaust. And, some persons examine the psychology behind it. How are people able to survive? And it's because they don't allow what is happening around them to affect them. And they speak to themselves. So they basically create a world. And I remember there was a story about some Jewish people, and they asked them how they survived the Holocaust. And they literally create this world. Their mind world. I mean, this is a time when their brothers, their sisters, their family was going into these chambers and being, tortured and all the chemical experiments and so forth. And they created this world. So when they really checked them and their psychology, they were upbeat, they were vibrant, they didn't allow what was happening around them to get in. So I found that very, very powerful statement, Alina.
Yeah, I mean it's a real thing, and it could sound real hocus pocus like, if you're not into it, it could sound crazy hocus pocus. But I will give you a really crazy example. I remember maybe about 5 6 years ago moving into a new building, moving the business, my business at the time, into a new building. And it was a much larger space. It was like maybe twice the amount of space that I had previously. So here it is, my clientele is at one level. I'm moving into this much larger building. So all of a sudden, there's just all this empty space, all these quote unquote chairs that needed to be filled. And I remember walking into the building one morning, and I took a deep breath and I felt nervous because, like, oh my God, what have I done? I was in my nice little space. I was filled to capacity. What have I done? How am I filling all these chairs? What is going to happen? I tell you the truth. I started going to work every morning, and I would get to the office extra early in the morning. And I would walk through the building, and I would touch every chair, and I would say, chair, you're going to be filled. Talking true, no true talk. I would touch every single chair, and I would say, chair, you're going to be filled. And I would just walk through the building every single day. And I did that until every chair was filled. I would walk every single morning. I would touch the chair and I would touch the tables, and I would say, you're going to be filled. That there is a new client that is going to come and take this space. This space is not going to remain empty. And I would walk through the building talking to the furniture. And I remember at the time, sometimes if staff comes to work, they'll be like, Miss, what you doing? And I'll be like, I'm talking to the furniture. They'll be like, what? I'll be like, listen, I need these chairs filled. So you don't have to believe it. You just need to know I believe it. So when I come in the morning, I talk to the furniture. And if you want to get excited about what we have here, you could feel free to go and talk to the furniture too. Listen, and it's
sadly,
how infectious it could be, because they started coming to work and talking to the chairs. And they would listen.
Sadly, though.
It's so funny. Go ahead, Roll.
Sadly though, we have some negative examples. I know we don't like to focus on the negative of how you can give permission to have negative things invade your life. We've had these suicides. We've had one here locally in Tobago, and then there was, I think, some person in the States that jumped off a building, the Queen or something like that. And when you hear the psychologists talk about it, the world that they've created, what they've given permission to, has taken their minds. So they walk around seeing a world that is negative, that nothing is working wrong. They just can't perceive a future. They cannot see anything forward looking. So it's amazing how powerful it is. So just as in the negative, it can happen in the positive. So
definitely. Because I have had so many instances of people just not understanding sometimes my energy, and be like, well, why you think you can do that? Who tell you can do that? And I'd be like, well, I woke up this morning and decided that I'm amazing, so we're going to do it. I don't need permission. I give me permission to live in greatness. That is just the end of it. I give me permission. And even as I share with that, I want to share a comment from Paula. She couldn't be in live studio with us, but she definitely is in the comment section. Hi, Paula. And Paula is saying, awakening, he opens up the mind of man and speaks inspirational thought so that he can keep man from pursuing his own limited way. Wow, I want to read that again. Paula's awakening is that he opens up the mind of man and speaks inspirational thoughts so that he can keep man from pursuing his own limited way. God's thoughts are of abundance and not lack. He wants you to live large and to bring you into a good life. This resonated with me, Paula is saying. It was a reminder to me that without God and his guidance and inspiration, I would only go but so far. That I must, and you put must in all caps, guys, that I must rely on God for greatness in my life. Paula, thank you so much for sharing that. That truly was an awakening. And of course, we have Simone joining us as well, as she's saying, visionaries speak it before they see it. I love that. Yes, we have to speak into being the thing that we want to experience. And it's so strange. I consume a lot of content. I do. And it's amazing when I listen to people talk about the concept of manifesting. And they say, I'm going to manifest a relationship and I'm going to manifest this and I manifest that. And I say, we who really beyond the superficial or maybe more surface level things in life really could get into vision and purpose, how much more should we to tap into the power of our words so that we could call into being things that are not yet as though they are, so we could embrace, we could experience, and we could have fullness and all success and all greatness. Janine, you're looking like you're itching to share. Tell me, what's on your mind?
It's just that with that me talking about the visions that I have, sometimes I'm accused of being extra until they see it, until they see my vision. Because sometimes I'm not always able to convey what it is I want to create. So like I will say, well, okay, here's what I want to do, this and I want to do that, but the idea that I have, the picture that I have in my mind, sometimes I can't articulate it properly to get you to see it until it happens. And when it happens, I love to see that little light in your eye, like, oh, ooh, wow, that I love that. I love that. So when you say you need to walk in your greatness and stuff like that, I try to tell people it's not that it's not possible. It's just that you haven't seen what can be done as yet. Don't ever bring that negative as Roll was speaking about. Don't let that fester. It's going to come. It's going to come. Negativity will come. But then for me, that's an opportunity to prove that positivity can be greater. So always walk with that. Be as extra as you want to be. Let your light shine. Let your light sparkle.
Yeah, definitely. Even as I think about power quotes, for me, one of the quotes that stood out and that Cindy Trim spoke about in this chapter, she said, as you walk, think about God's promise to enlarge your territory and give every place you set your foot. As you walk, release these powerful declarations into the atmosphere for 3 consecutive months and watch what God would do. And even as I read that, it resonated deeply that there is a everyday, every moment application to the notion of being mindful of thoughts and words. Sometimes we're not thinking about it. We could think about it as something we do at the beginning of the day or the end of the day or on a Sunday when you're resting and you're reflecting. But as she's writing, she's saying as you walk, meaning in every moment. And I remember in one of the earlier conversations, um, I think it was Mommy Ingrid. She talked about commanding your moments or something like that. As you walk in your every moment, you're being mindful. And that certainly is something I look forward to challenging myself with on a deeper level. That in those intense moments, because we all have them, or in those moments when, for whatever reason, we might feel a bit down or discouraged, or it didn't work out the way we wanted it to, or the thing didn't come through when we thought it was going to come through, or the person didn't do the thing they said they were going to do, that in those moments, we could check our thoughts and our words. So we could always be aligned with positivity. We could always be aligned with positive expectation. And for me, that's my challenge for the as you walk, and I'm not saying I didn't do it at all, but I so look forward. I'm excited to take it to a new level and applying that so that even as Cindy Trim is saying, as we walk and we think about the whole prospect of embracing enlarged territories, that excites me. It excites me to the idea that for everything that I'm doing, that in every moment I'm imagining it at a greater level. I'm imagining it bigger and better and more efficient and all the bigger, better words that we can look. That to me is so I'm telling you, I am excited. I sat today looking at my calendar and I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. I have a couple of things to trash out this weekend and I am excited for Monday because I am ready to quote unquote command my morning, quote unquote, walk in the understanding that a larger territory is waiting for me. So now every project I have going on, I am ready to imagine it bigger, better, and position myself to embrace it. And that for me, guys, is the power code and the wisdom for transformation because I am excited to go do something different. But I'm gonna hush now to listen to you guys. What's your power quote? And whatever you want to share in terms of that wisdom for transformation. What are you looking forward to embracing as you move out of the book and into the rest of 2022? Open floor.
Well, for me, the power quote was not just one sentence, but a sentence and the beginning of another. But I took it, the meaning for it stood out for me when she said, do not be counterproductive in your declarations by decreeing one thing and confessing the other. Be consistent. And you see that consistency, that is key because sometimes you will start all gung ho. I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that. And I say that this is going to happen, and 2 months down the road, you're starting to fall off. That consistency is so key. It is so key. And one of the ways that I keep myself being consistent is to put little stickers here, there, and everywhere. I've started putting it for me to see, well, okay, you're doing this, you're doing that. Don't forget to do this. All right, you go ahead and do that. Don't forget to do this. Command is to be consistent with what it is you're declaring and decreeing. Make sure that it comes to light or it comes to fruition by being consistent by declaring it.
Yes, that's true. That consistency is very crucial. Very crucial. For me, my power quote was when she said, the thing that you need might already be waiting for you, but you don't see it yet because you have not called for it. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why sometimes things don't work out because I have a need, but I'm not talking like we discussed in the last episode. Sometimes you have to talk through the problem. And I was like, wow, I need to
You're
start
not touching your
applying
furniture.
that. I exactly. Exactly. So I'm like, okay, I need to start doing that from since yesterday.
We're all we waiting on you. We're waiting to hear the gem from you.
Okay, I guess I can jump in. Well, actually, it's something that Paula mentioned, and I believe it was Redma mentioned it again. That section where she spoke about he opens up the mind of man and speaks inspirational thoughts that he can keep man from pursuing his limited way. So I looked at that from a different perspective, that's God's thoughts are of abundance and not lack. He wants us to live large and to bring us into a good life. You understand? So that he this ability to speak is for us to grow and fulfill his best plan. And what came to me is that, it might be helpful if we can see that God has something bigger for us. Many times when we think about following God's way or God's will or doing the work of God, we think of being restricted. You understand? We think of it as something that keeps us back from doing all these things that we want to do. You understand? All these pleasures sometimes that we want to do. But, one of the things Cindy's saying here is that he actually has something bigger for us, much larger for us. So if we can abide by his ways and if we can follow his statutes and his principles, it takes us into a larger space. And I think it's an interesting perspective because I could tell, growing up sometimes, oh gosh, you have to do this, and the Bible says you have to pray, and you have to do this, and we see it as something confining us. When God really, this is a portal where we can go into something very, very much large. And I think that's what resonated with me when I read that particular portion again, that what the best that we have for ourselves, the best that we can speak for ourselves is limited. You understand? Although in our mind and in our thinking, the Bible says that, the ways of man is not, God is not like the ways of man, much higher than the heaven is. You understand? We think that what we're thinking is so magnanimous and so big, but God has something much larger. He promises to do exceedingly abundantly above them. So just sit and think about all the big things we think about, especially doing our own way, and think about the fact that when God encourages us to sacrifice, in terms of being available to others, in terms of giving, in terms of all these things, in terms of what we're talking about, developing that habit of speaking, we are not restricting ourselves. We are opening up ourselves to greater possibilities. So that quote resonated with me in this particular chapter.
That reminds me of a picture that I'm not sure if anyone I think we said it before in another episode, where Jesus is speaking to this little girl, and she has this tiny teddy bear, and he's asking her for the time. I can't remember the year. And she wasn't sure if to give it up, and behind him is this huge teddy bear. That's what it reminds me of. He's asking you to just sacrifice this little portion to receive something greater.
Yes.
Guys, come on, your morning was awesome. I've been waiting for it since October of 2021. I said, listen, as soon as January kicks in, we're going to get into this. And I'm so happy. And, I really want to thank everyone who joined in live, everyone who came in the comment section to view and click and like and share and all those other things. So appreciative. And I mean, this is us winding down Series 8, Commanding Your Morning. So even as we wind down on this last final stream in this series, I want to ask you all, what closing thoughts would you like to share?
Well, for me, the line where she said, don't be a victim, call the shots and change your destiny. And I was like, yes, I'm not going to be a victim and negative, whether it's my thoughts, your world thoughts. And I have control. I can control my destiny. So I want to encourage everyone. I want to encourage all these viewers, all these listeners, people who are watching this video 5 years down the road. You can call the shots and you can control and change your destiny.
And I like that. There's this quote that she said again, and it's not something new, but it gave me a little bit of determination, and I need to also stick that up somewhere. He who is in me is greater than he who is in the world. And it lets me know you can see this big insurmountable problem in front of you. He's bigger than that. He can make that a pebble and let you step over that and continue on your way. So always remind yourself, he who's within me is greater than he is within the world. You can overcome it. Just depend on him.
Yes, it was such a pleasure, being here on the Thursdays with you, the ones that I was able to be here and sharing, these great nuggets. And, it really does something for you. You really grow just being here and sharing, having to read the chapter. When you leave, when you finish, you're really different. And I really want to encourage persons who maybe you're looking on and you're an audience, you're part of the audience, right? You just looking on and maybe there's something tingling in you. I want to be a part, I feel like I could be a part of this, speak it now, according to Cindy Trim, speak it now into your life and join us. Come be a part. We have a chair waiting for you. I like to say in closing that one of the things when she started talking about, hello?
We're listening.
Yeah, go ahead, roll.
Yeah, when one of the things that jumped out at me in this particular chapter, when she spoke about making the call, and I think Rema referred to it, there's a level of vigilance that's required. We have to be vigilant. we are saying things that are contrary. We are doing things, thinking things that are contrary, and we have to be vigilant and always ready. And she referred to a scripture that we may know. It says that casting down imaginations and everything that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, which means that's a fight. That's a fight. That's not a casual thing. You are going to have to fight against your very nature, the very habits, and take that 3 months and develop the habit. And the scripture goes on to say, and having a readiness to revenge all disobedience, anything that would seek to be contrary to what you're to and going to be counterproductive. You have to be vigilant and don't give way. So I would like to close by encouraging viewers and the listeners with part of the declaration, and I just read, part of the declaration in the book. She has a list page of declarations, and if you don't have the book, please get the book. Some of it, one part of it said this: today is the dawning of a new day. My season of frustration and failures is over, and I walk in a season of success and prosperity. All things have passed away, all things have become new. Today I press forward toward the mark of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. I greet today with great anticipation of the good things that you have prepared for me. I decree and declare that a new day is dawning for me, my job, my family, my ministry, my finance. Put anything inside of there, my health, right? I download success, prosperity, health, wealth, vision, direction, ingenuity, creativity, spirituality, holiness, righteousness, peace, and resourcefulness from your spirit into my spirit today. So that's what I like to leave folks with.
I want to encourage everyone, if you have not yet gotten a book, get a book, create a journal, start a 3 month journey of speaking, declaring, and making notes when you see those changes so you can celebrate. Let's journal this experience together as we command morning and as we get into a deeper level of having transformative experiences. So, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for joining me for yet another series of book club conversation. Until the next series, which happens to start next week. Have a great one. Stay safe. And for series 7, a final goodbye. Take care, everyone.